Good evening, everyone. We are the Chico Xavier Learning Center in Portland. Welcome. Um, Thank you for joining us tonight for our study of Emmanuel. Tonight we will be studying the book Living Spring, and the chapter, it is going to be chapter 48. But before we start, I just want to talk a little bit about our group. We are based out of Portland, Oregon. Our meetings are on Mondays. We start at 7 p.m. Pacific time. We also have meetings on Tuesday mornings and Tuesday evenings at 10 a.m. that we study the Medium's book. And also in the evening is the study of André Luiz. So we follow the books from André Luiz, Life in the Spiritual Realm. And every other Sunday, first and third week of the month, we have the youth group. Now, going on to the second semester of this year, there will be some changes in our schedule, and including the youth group also having for little ones. And we have a partnership with the group from Seattle, and they also have some activities. In our case, every first Monday of the month. The studies are in English, but they also host other options in English, both for youth groups and the study of the Spirit's book. We are a nonprofit. All donations are tax deductible, and you can find the information of our organization on our website at www.chicoxavierportland.org. But if you are feeling grateful, please help us. That's the way that we can pay our bills. Having the open place, it has some benefits, but also have some responsibilities as well. So before we start with the book In the Lord's Presence, tonight I want to invite each one of you for a prayer, connecting to our guiding angels, our protectors, knowing that we are not alone, that even if we are connecting via Zoom, that if we are present in this present moment with our minds, with our thoughts, we are receiving the benefits that we need, that we deserve. So we'll say hello with gratitude to all the superior spirits that are here with us tonight, that already started taking care of our physical, spiritual, emotional needs. As all of us need help, support, so we can live this life in a more balanced way. So we can remember our duties and responsibilities, all the commitments that we made before incarnating. We ask them to bless this house, bless all the volunteers that help with love and passion to make this place a home for each one of us. Thank you, Jesus, for taking care of us tonight and be with us today and always. Amen. So we're going to be studying a verse from John. It's chapter 8, verse 43, where Jesus is basically talking to some of the Jew leaders. And he says something that is pretty strong. He's talking about afterlife. and the reincarnation. And then he says, why is my language not clear to you? That's a question. And then he goes, it is because you are unable to hear what I say. That's not a question. That's an affirmation. So he's talking to someone who is an intellectual, who has a lot of knowledge, who knew very well the Old Testament, understood the message, nevertheless, could not translate those words into actions. So Emmanuel, always being very sharp on his words, he starts with the chapter saying, Christ's language has always seemed incomprehensible and strange to many learners of the gospel. And this is very much aligned to what JC was saying, like, the message of love one another, love your neighbor, has been brought 2000 years ago. And then we open the news and we see that we're still not living that, even if we call ourselves Christians. It's recording. So Emmanuel continues, doing as much as good as possible, even when evils are numerous and on the increase. So we need to do good, no matter what. Lending without expecting repayment, which is so much aligned to what we were learning from chapter 13, from the Gospel according to Spiritism. Forgiving always, probably the most difficult task for many of us. And forgiving always as many times as needed. Loving one's enemies. Helping slanderers and other bad people. Many people listen to the good news, but they cannot grasp its teachings. This happens to so many followers of the gospel because they use their mental energy in other areas. So we are using our intellect, our knowledge, to material things. And he's going to go through that without kind of trying to decipher what Jesus was exactly trying to say to us. So it's not like, only love the ones that think like you. No, that's not what he's saying. That's not what he did, actually. They vaguely believe in heaven's help in times of suffering, but show a complete lack of interest in studying and applying the divine laws. So people go through suffering, they don't believe they're going to be helped, but they do very little to basically learn more about it. Their worries connected with ownership envelop their existence. So my concern goes only around the material side. I don't think about growing my spiritual side. My worries are only, do I get a better job? Do I get a better salary? Can I get married, not married? Get a house, not a house? Be more powerful? Have better health? But spiritually, we are disconnected. They want the gold of the earth, the bread of their storehouse, usable linen, good health, the pleasures of the senses, and social respect so much they do not remember that they are mere beneficiaries of the world. So we do not own anything. They never think about the temporariness of all material assets, whose sole function is to provide them with an appropriate environment for working in charity. So this is the purpose of everything that we have here, to work in charity and in the light for elevation of the eternal spirit. So it's everything, all the assets, all the talents that we have. It can be our intelligence, it can be our money. Not saying that we need to give everything away, but we need to understand that our hours, our lives, they need to benefit others. Otherwise, we're going to fall into the hole of being selfish and proudful. They hear Christ's call, but their attention is riveted to the appeals of the physical life. They hear, but they do not listen. They do not listen. We do not listen that we may live 50, 60, 70, 90 years, and then we're going to leave everything behind. Everything. In this arena of contradictions, we always have respectable persons and sometimes wonderful friends. So he's saying, we know people like that if we are not one of them. They hold immense potential of goodness in their hearts, but their minds are always occupied with perishable forms. They are invaluable workstations. They are super valuable people and with great potential to help others, but their equipment is used for pointless activities. So we basically trash our time. Therefore, let us not forget that it's always easy to hear the language of the Lord, but it is essential to present to Him a heart free of residues of the earth to receive the divine word in spirit and truth. Wow. So Jesus is responding to Jewish leaders here, and they fail to understand his teachings. This was 2,000 years ago, but looking at what we see in the world kind of happening in countries where we call ourselves Christians, but understanding that there is a difference between the religion and being religious, because the religion is a tool for each one of us to increase our moral capabilities, to ascend spiritually. But when we get only attached to the religion, and I'm not talking about only Christianism, I'm talking about Judaism, Buddhism, all the types of labels we may call this connection with God. If this connection doesn't happen, if there's no bridge between the being and the creator, we are not accomplishing the mission. And I keep saying that I have sometimes kind of a hard time saying that Spiritism is a religion, because we don't have any rituals. We don't have a formal global leader. We do not have like images. We don't have a hierarchy. No. The idea of Spiritism is mostly to awaken ourselves to what needs to be done. And then if we go back to 2,000 years ago, they couldn't even understand what he was talking about, because they were basically bickering each other within the same church of that they lived. And don't we do the same today? So going back to the temple, kind of talking to those leaders that should have known much more than everybody else, he said, why don't you understand what I'm saying? You don't understand because you are locked in a way and you cannot hear one word that I'm saying. If we think about Nicodemus, for example, kind of it highlights the misunderstanding. It's not that they were unable intellectually to understand what Jesus was saying, but it was because their heart, maybe their spiritual maturity was not yet ready to grasp all those feelings. all those teachings for eternal life. Jesus was saying, my reign is not from this place. And they wanted a war. So what's Jesus' main message? We all know that. It's love one another, love God above all, and basically reminding us that we are all children of the same God. So we are all brothers and sisters. So if today I'm sitting on this chair, tomorrow I'm sitting in a situation similar to yours. So if I despise, if I disrespect, I don't know where I'm going to be. Emmanuel is reminding us that Jesus' message is a global message of love, understanding, respect, family, that mostly emphasizes this moral resilience when we have so much noise around us telling us what to do when those things are not the right ones. We have so many options open for us today that may take us to be more selfish, when the way that he's saying is the selfless behavior, the love for all, even in difficult situations. So if we go back to what Emmanuel was saying, reminding us was Jesus about Jesus' message, he was saying, doing as much good as possible, even when evils are numerous and on the increase. So it's to practice this unconditional goodness and compassion all the time. Lending without expecting repayment. So we should not expect anything in return, and that's really hard. But that's the way for us to find happiness, because when we attach our happiness to a thank you and we do not get the thank you, we may get hurt. And so we are causing the suffering to ourselves. Unnecessary. Because what we do with good is the seed that may grow at some point, but that seed is already inside us. He's saying lending without expecting repayment, forgiving ours always. So the forgiveness is a big one, because the trauma, the pain, it gets kind of locked in different parts of our body, maybe creating a cancer. So the forgiveness is not for the other person. Not forgiving means to be drinking the poison when I want that other person to suffer. And many times the other person doesn't even know. Maybe that person is already passed and I'm still holding that grudge. So who is suffering here? I am suffering. Loving one's enemy. So it's not like we're going to bring inside our home and treat people that we do not trust like our best buddies. He's not saying that. Sometimes loving our enemies means just like not wishing them anything bad, just wishing them well and away from me, protecting myself, helping slanderers and other bad people. So assist people who do harm and act badly. And Jesus did that when he was having, imagine, he was having dinner, meals at the houses of the corruptors at that time. He was helping the son of one of the soldiers that used to make the Jews suffer. So he didn't say, okay, I'm only going to help the good ones. No, because he said the sick are the ones who need doctors. Does that mean that I'm going to expose myself? No. But we need to understand that those who are going into the wrong direction, they are just ignorant. They are children from an spiritual perspective, and they need help. They need our example. Sometimes our example can be the trigger for the change. We do not know. So he continues, many of us listen to the good news but cannot grasp the teaching. So why? We use the mental energy. He explains. We completely lack interest of studying. No, oh, so there is this study of the Kardec, the Spirit's book, the Gospel, or what happens in the spiritual life. Oh, I don't have time for that. I'm too busy. But I find time for other things. So the fact that I'm not studying for my own growth is hurting whom? Myself. And I will look back and when I am on the other side, and I'm going to realize that I wasted my time. So being incarnated is an opportunity. It's a very valuable opportunity that we have to grow, to learn, to become better persons. And why this is important? Because when I change the way that I behave and I make less mistakes, I have less things to correct. JC was saying something important today during our studies. When we make a mistake with other people, like someone like Leticia did something very nice to me. She was very kind, and I wasn't really grateful to what she did. I may feel guilty afterwards. Guilt is a type of suffering. Sometimes I have the opportunity to fix that. Sometimes I don't. Then Emmanuel continues, our worries connect mostly with material things. So again, even with our kids, the little ones, we as parents, good parents, we think about, okay, what's the best school we can take my kid to that I can pay or not pay? Sometimes we choose even the neighborhood we live because of better schools. We think about their diet. We think about our diet, taking care of my body. The doctor said that I cannot eat sugar, so I will have more vegetables and less carbs. I go to university to get a degree so I can have a better job, so I can have a better salary, so I can have a bigger house, a nicer car. So our worries, many times, what makes us awake during night are connected to all those little things that are material things. But very few of us would think, okay, what's the spiritual diet that I need to go through? Did I make a difference in anyone's life today? And if each one of us try to end the day just thinking that, okay, I made something good to Sally today. I gave her a reason to smile today. Imagine if we do that every day for just one person. Someone who was sad and lonely, and I sent a good message. I made them feel loved and respected. I made things easier for them. Something that may not have been that hard to me. We'll be doing this kind of little seeds of goodness around us that somehow will change the mindset, the vibration of our globe. So when we go through our self-reflection in terms of what are our priorities, and then Emmanuel sadly basically lists, okay, I want money, I want wealth, I want good health, I want pleasures of life, I want to be respected socially, I want titles, power, and then we forget that we are not owners of any of those things, but just beneficiaries. This is a reflection of today's materialism and ego. And nobody here is saying that that's not important, that I cannot study to have a better job, a bigger house, or buy a, a newer, cooler car. He's not saying that in no moment. What he's saying here is that among these material priorities, we should have our spiritual priorities as well. And he warns us that if when becoming so attached to earthly goods and recognition, we lose sight of humility and gratitude. And that's going to the wrong direction. So Emmanuel is telling us, calling our attention, reminding us that we're going to leave everything behind. Everything behind. So let's turn on our listening ears, different than what was going on with the leaders. So understanding the message, understanding what Jesus was trying to show us, not say, because he didn't write anything. He showed us everything. He showed us how we should behave with our family members, with our friends, in our community, with the sick, with the one that were making bad choices, even the burglar that was on a cross by him. So connecting our potential with the higher sense, so we do not become slaves of all those things that we will leave behind. So we need to use the money without becoming enslaved of them. He's saying that no matter what stage we are, more knowledgeable, less knowledgeable, we are invaluable workstations. Invaluable workstations. So the question for each one of us is that, what is our equipment? What equipment? My body, my time, my intelligence, my capabilities. How are they being used? If we do not use this equipment, these capabilities, like what is shown in the parable of the talents, each one of us have different talents, and that time talent was the name of the currency. In our case, the talent is everything that we have. It's the ability to breathe, is, as I said, being here in the United States instead of our home country, knowing what we know, having free time on a Saturday morning. I don't know. What are we doing with these assets to help one another, to make a difference in other people's lives? And then he says, it is essential to present to him a heart free of residues of the earth, to receive the divine word in spirit and truth. So we need to remember that we are here as tourists, as a passage. But the reality, we are eternal spirits that will go back home. This is not home. We will go back. And how do we want to go back? In what stage we want to go back? What do we want to what do we want to be able to bring when we go back home? What's going to be in our luggage? Is it heavy? Is it light? I'm proud of it or not? And even if I made some mistakes in the past, if I didn't know what I know today, or even if today, knowing what I know, I continue to make some wrong choices, the Spirit's book, it says, can we overcome our evil tendencies? Yes, in very little effort sometimes. What we lack is willpower. So when Jesus told us, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, no one comes to the Father except through me, he's reminding us that we need to walk the pathway that he showed us. That's the invitation for tonight. So take the veil from the words. When we read the Bible so many times, the New Testament, the Old Testament as well, it's just so hard to understand. And with the gospel according to Spiritus, we get so much easier because the spirits, Kardec, they come and they basically dissect, they explain, they take that old verbiage and translate that in a way that we can bring it to our daily lives. But net is for us to remember that Jesus served without expecting anything in return. He loved without expecting anything from return. Even in the hardest moment of his existence here, he was by himself. And his words were, God, forgive them because they do not know what they are doing. And if we think about that, was he talking about his 12 apostles? Probably as well, because only John was there. What about the other 11? So all his friends left him alone, pretended that they didn't know him. The other ones were not as close friends as the 12 apostles. So we know we are not apostles, but we are disciples. We know enough. And he expects us to use our workstation, our abilities, as means to do good to others and to help others. So this is what I had to share with you tonight. Now we're gonna go through our passes, and I wanna try something different today. We are going to take a deep breath. Can you guys hear the music? No? Can you hear the music? No? So no music, sorry. So dear God, in this moment, we are here in your name with our qualities, our defects, our vices, as children who come asking for help, for guidance. Help us, dear Jesus, in this moment, for each one of us to receive our spiritual passe, this wonderful fluidotherapy that balances our chakras, that balances our minds, calming our spirits. You know, Jesus, what we need, our worries, our limitations. And in this moment, we hand to you all our concerns and ask you to inspire us so we can make better choices today, tomorrow, and in the future. Dear God, stay with us, visit our homes, take care of our family members, mostly the ones that are always in our prayers. Help us forgive and forget all of the people who have hurt our hearts. Knowing that we also need the same forgiveness. We ask you, dear Jesus, to take care of all the spirits that are here tonight at this house of love, who came to receive help. May they feel your love, your peace, your joy. May they even smile as they receive all these blessings that come to us tonight. Dear Father in heaven, take care of our planet. Take care of all those families who suffer any type of suffering, moral, material. Visit all those who go through wars, losses, pain. Hold the hand of all the ones who are thinking about terminating their lives. Encourage them, giving them hope. May they know that life continues and it will continue to be exactly as we are here. Bless all the children and their fathers and mothers, so family can be a loving, safe place everywhere around the globe. And may each one of us leave to our homes feeling encouraged, stronger, energized, bringing that joy to all of those who live with us. And finally, dear Father, bless our water, putting in our glass, in our cup, in our bottle, all we need to feel stronger and healthier. And with that, we say thank you. Thank you, everyone. We wish you all a wonderful evening, a blessed evening, and I see you next Monday. Have a good night.